Yo guys, welcome to the Zelda fiction. Today we are gonna see, what if Naruto got harem with Fem Kyubi, Kushina and Samui? Part 1. Huge shout out to Rinoti for this story. If you end up liking this video, please consider subscribe, so without further ado, let's get into the video. Minatori Namikaze, the 4th Hokage aka Konoha's Yellow Flash, was standing on top of Little Hill, outside of Konoha's walls, face to face with strongest bitch Kyuubi no Kitsune, holding his newborn son Naruto. Beside him was standing 3rd Hokage and watching him with sad eyes. When all of this is over, I want you to tell villagers to see him as hero for saving our village from demon. And one more things I want to ask you is to make sure that he and his mother are safe. Also I left letter and all my belongings to Naruto alone, which includes my family mansion with all jutsus and everything in it money that will be transferred from my account to his. Farewell and keep everybody safe my friend. Said Minato and disappeared in Yellow Flash, leaving sad again to be Hokage. Flashback 10 hours ago. Kushina Uzumaki just gave birth to her son Naruto and was resting in her bed while Minato was holding him and talking to 3rd Hokage Tsurutobi Hiruzen about how happy he was that he is father. But suddenly Anbu with dog mask burst into the room, almost waking up little Naruto. Hokage-sama, Tsurutobi-sama, I'm very sorry for interrupting you, but we have emergency situation. Kyuubi no Kitsune is heading toward Konoha and by the look of it, it will be here in several hours. Said panting Anbu. What? Both Hokage and ex-Hokage yelled together. What Kyuubi is doing in Hai no Kuni? Asked confused Tsurutobi. Never mind that now Tsuruto-sama, we need to think how to stop it from destroying Konoha. Said Minato to Hiruzen, who by now was already thinking about the plan to stop Kyuubi. After 2 hours of discussing the plan, Minato suggested to use sealing. You can't be serious Minato. How will you seal strongest bitch in the world? And even if you find some way to do it, where will you seal it? It will break free from anything in a matter or minutes said already worried ex-Hokage. I am serious Tsurutobi. It's the only option we got. And for your first question I already found a way to do it. I was working on this seal for a while now, it's my own upgraded version of one of ancient Uzumaki seals that will allow me to summon Shinigami, but it will cost me my life. I already added it into Forbidden Scroll after Minato said this Hiruzen grimaced. And for the second question I won't seal it into anything, rather I will seal it into someone while he was saying last party was looking at Naruto all the time. After 3rd Hokage saw this, he suddenly understood what Minato was talking about. Minato, you can't possibly be thinking about sealing it into Naruto, do you? When Tsurutobi said this, Minato's head fell down and he was trying to avoid eye contact. What other choice do we have? He is only newborn we have and do you think I can ask any other parent to sacrifice their own child when I am not ready to do it myself? As sad as it was, Hiruzen had to agree with Minato. Okay then while you will be preparing everything for sealing, we will try to hold Kyuubi as long as we can, said 3rd Hokage as he exited room to prepare for battle. Flashback and current time. When 4th Hokage arrived to the battlefield, he saw hundreds of people lying dead in the ground and mighty bitch destroying everything on its path. Thinking quickly, he summoned Toad Boss Gamabunta. Minato, why did you summon me here? As Gamabunta started looking around, he couldn't believe what he was seeing. Minato, do you seriously expect me to fight Kyuubi? Asked shocked Toad Boss. Minato just looked at Gamabunta with serious look. Oh crap. You are serious. Said Boss Summon as he prepared for one of his toughest battles. Don't worry Bunta, I don't expect you to defeat Kyuubi. I need you to just hold it back so I can seal it in my son after Minato said this, Gamabunta's eyes filled with sadness. You're not going to survive sealing aren't you? Asked Bunta, but deep down he already knew the answer. No I won't, but I am Hokage of Konoha and it's my duty to protect this village and all people that are living there and that's what I am about to do. Said famous Yellow Flash with determination. Well then Minato let's kick. Hey you furball, come and get piece of me. Shouted Gamabunta as he dashed toward Kyuubi. While Gamabunta was fighting off Kyuubi, Minato was going through hundreds of complex hand seals. When he was about to do the last hand seal, he just off his summon to the ground. As he landed he finished last hand seal, and that moment Shinigami appeared above 4th Hokage's head. When Minato saw Shinigami, he bit his thumb and started going through couple of hand seals yet again. When he finished, there was white smoke, and when it cleared there was big scroll with Toad's head on the end of it. You will be holding key for my Shikifkin seal. Give it to Jiraiya and tell him to give to Naruto when he is ready to control Kyuubi's power. Toad's head on top on the scroll just nodded at what he was told to do. Good, now it's time to end this. When he said this, arm shot out from his stomach, grabbed Kyuubi and started pulling it into Minato. When all of Kyuubi's power was extracted, Minato yelled Fkin. Suddenly Shinigami raised its hand while holding knife in it and cut Kyuubi's power in two. One part of it was sealed into Minato and second into Naruto. That moment was created first Jinchuriki or strongest bitch in the world Kyuubi no Kitsune, nine-tailed demon fox. Farewell my son, protect Konoha and be strong. And sorry for placing this burden on you. This were last words of beloved 4th Hokage. 5 years later. Young boy, around 5 years old, is running through the night streets of Konoha for his life, being chased by civilians and ninjas. This boy is Naruto Uzumaki, Jinchuriki of Kyuubi no Kitsune. He is average height for his age, has spiky unruly blonde hair, ocean blue eyes, and 6 whiskers marks in his cheeks, 3 on each side. He is wearing white t-shirt with orange swirl on his chest, black baggy shorts and blue sandals. I shouldn't have stayed so long in Ichiraku's raiment stand. If I won't get away from them now, then I am totally gonna die, he thought while running from mob. Suddenly he saw alley on the right side of the street and tried to hide there. But unfortunately when he entered alley, after couple seconds of running, he was facing dead end. As he turned around, he saw about 50 people with kunes, butcher knives, daggers and many other metal objects that could be pretty dangerous. Why are doing this? I never did anything bad to any of you. He shouted with fear evident in his voice. You killed our families, destroyed our village. You are just filthy demon. Yelled one of the villagers. There were multiple shouts like kill the demon. Let's finish what 4th started. And Kyuubi must die. When he heard people yelling this, his only thought was, oh tuck, I'm so dead. Not a second later, after yelling, cursing and shouting died down, everyone started to attack Naruto with punches, kicks, kunes and everything they could think of. All poor blonde could do was cry out in pain, all the while begging them to stop. But people weren't listening, they just tortured him, not giving any mercy. What's going on here? Everyone turned their heads, only to see enraged 3rd Hokage standing in the alley. Hokage-sama, we are just doing what 4th couldn't, we are killing demon. Answered tall man standing in front of the mob. This of course angered old Hokage even more. Anbu, take everybody to Ibiki and tell him not to hold back. All ninjas that were here tonight are permanently stripped from their ranks, said fuming Hokage, all the while giving everybody look that could scare Orochimaru less. We're so screwed, everybody thought in union. When Hiruzen looked at where Naruto was lying, and all he could see was 5-year-old boy that was head to toe in blood, his blonde hair now partially red, almost every bone broken, and cuts all over his body. By the look of it, boy was already unconscious. Anbu, fast take boy to the hospital and tell them to heal him immediately or they will be executed otherwise. Said Hokage, showing his worry for the boy and anger for not being able to protect him. Naruto's mindscape. When Naruto woke up, he saw that he was in sewer, with water on the floor. He did only thing he could do in this situation, he sighed. Great. Not only those losers had to beat me up, but also threw me to some sewer. Just great. Now how do I get out of here? Suddenly he heard some kind of a growling sound, resembling to some wild animal. Having no other way to go, he went to the place where sounds were coming from. After several minutes of walking around, he finally came upon some kind of cage with paper in the middle of the door and kanji for seal on it. He couldn't see anything or rather anyone that was inside because of how dark it was inside. When he came closer to gate, he saw a pair of blood-red slitted eyes looking at his. After several seconds he could clearly see dark orange fur, black claws and most noticeable trait 9 big tails swishing behind it. Kyuubi? Damn, you're huge. Said Naruto in awe. Well, it's not every day that you are able to see 9-tailed demon fox. Interesting reaction, I might say. I expected you to be shaking in fear by now, said Kyuubi with amusement. Well, I kinda guessed already that you and I will be somewhat linked to each other, you know, people calling me demon and all. There was a bit of sadness in his voice when he said last part. No, actually I don't. You see, I just woke up when you came here, so I don't remember anything after being sealed into you. I will look through your memories to see what your life was like and to see what was happening while I was sealed here. No doubt they are worshipping him for defeating great 9-tailed fox, but before that, I will change to my human form so it would be more comfortable to talk to each other, said Kyuubi, as red glow started to swirl around it. Wait. You can see my memories. And that means that you are sealed inside me. When red chakra around Kyuubi disappeared, Naruto's jaw dropped to the ground and he was gaping like fish in open air. There stood beautiful woman about 18 years old, about 5'7" high with long blood red hair with tint of orange coming down her waist, heart-shaped face with same color eyes as her hair, D-cup freezed and perfect body. She was wearing black kimono with red foxes on it that was hugging her body, leaving very little to imagination. Seeing him in clear shock, she smirked. What? Didn't expect great Kyuubi no Kitsune to be a woman? She asked, all the while smirking. No, it's not that. I mean it is partially, but it's I mean this. And. That arg. Naruto shut up as fast as he could, trying not to get more embarrassed in front of her. She just stood there, amused with the show that he was unknowingly giving her. Okay, you can relax. No, this of course helped to calm Naruto down. But enough about me, I want to see how your life has been so far, and don't interrupt me. You're not going to like what you'll see, he whispered softly with saddened tone so she wouldn't hear, but she still heard him, thanks to her sensitive ears. When she heard it, she instantly got curious. For next 5 minutes or so, she was viewing his memories. To Naruto it looked like she was meditating or fell asleep, but he didn't dare to interrupt as she asked him not to. When she finished, there were many emotions evident on her face: sadness, pity, sorrow and many other emotions that Naruto had hard time understanding, but mostly there was only anger. Let me out. Let me out, so I could rip this little humans apart limb by limb. Furious Kyuubi started to scream. At first, Naruto was scared shitless and backed away a bit from her, but his eyes softened when he understood why she was angry and screaming like a madman. Air woman. After she calmed down, he had many questions he wanted to ask, so he tried to talk to her. Hey, are you okay? He asked softly as he stepped closer to Cage. No, I'm not. How could they do this to mere child? And they dare to call me a demon? They are even worse than demons. As she continued her rant about pitiful humans, which by the way already started to annoy Naruto, she completely forgot that she wasn't alone. Hey. Calm down and let's try to talk, I got many things that I want to ask you. He tried to bring her back to earth from her daydreaming-like state. Oh yeah, sorry about that. You're right, we're stuck with each other, so let's try to talk like civilized humans, I mean human and bitch. She responded, a little bit irritated that he interrupted her. First, an obvious question is, why did you attack Konoha? You are obviously not mindless demon, like everybody thinks you are, that destroys everything it sees. So it can't be the reason, why then? He said while curiously glancing at her. She just mumbled something about stupid pitiful humans. Reason I attacked your village is no. It's not my village. This stupid villagers only wants me dead, so why the hell should it be my village? I see, well at least you're not some idiot that is running around, wearing orange jumpsuit and being friendly with everybody that tries to kill him. Anyway, as I was saying before you interrupted me, she slightly glared at him. He just nervously laughed at what she said, while sweating bullets. I attacked because I was controlled, but to be more specific I fell for genjutsu. And I'm ashamed to say that mere human could do that, not just this time, which is not less embarrassing thing either, but second time. And when I broke free, all I could see was your father along with Shinigami, sealing me inside you. Wait, when was the first time that somebody controlled you, and who it was? He didn't catch the thing about his father right away, because his brain was already working overload. First time was when this village was just created and there was a fight between Madara Uchiha and Hashirama Senju for the title of first Hokage. During the fight, that damned Uchiha somehow summoned me and placed under high-level genjutsu using his eternal magicum Haringanems. It appears to be that Senju used one of his Mokuton jutsus on me, thus helping me to break free from genjutsu. I learned later that his Mokuton could surpass demonic Inki. When I was not controlled anymore, I realized where I was and in what situation I was for what it worth. So I made deal with Hashirama that would benefit each of us. Deal was very simple one: we would team up and kill Uchiha. Of course I had my own reasons, as he had his own. After we killed him, I befriended Hashirama. He was a nice guy by the way, and not so bad looking, too bad he was already married. Okay Kyuubi, he was suddenly cut off. Akane. What? He asked confused. My name is Akane, Kyuubi is just stupid name that you, pitiful humans gave me. Actually you are second human that I told my name to, first was Hashi-kun if you're wondering. Okay Akane-chan, thanks for telling me, I'm glad you did. So what you're saying is that there was some crazy Uchiha that fought first Hokage, with some kinda superpower that can control you. And that you and Hashirama Senju, one of the founders of Konoha, were friend. And also that this Madara person survived and summoned you again to destroy Konoha. I am right so far? She just nodded in response. I see, what the tuck. Do you honestly expect me to believe in this bullshit? She almost face-palmed herself when she heard that. You are talking to strongest bitch in the world that is sealed in your gut and you still don't believe in what I said? She asked with irritated tone, but she understood why he wouldn't. After all, it's not easy believing someone right away after the life he had, and demon nonetheless. I guess you have a point. Hold on. Did you said that you were sealed by my father? So that means that fourth Hokage is my father. He was dumbstruck, shocked when he realized what she said earlier. His own father sealed Kyuubi inside him. Yes, you heard me right, blonde Hokage was your father. As to how I know this, I heard him saying something along line with sorry for placing this burden on you, my son, and escaping cursive paperwork while he was dying was her answer to his unasked question. When he heard this, lone tear fell from his eye. His whole life he was wondering who his parents were, and now he learned that his father was the very same person that sealed Kyuubi inside him, Minato Namikaze himself. Akane-chan, do you know anything about my mother? He asked softly, hoping to get as much information about his parents as he could, because every time he would ask his Jiji, Hokage, about his parents, he would get the same answer, I only know that they were strong shinobi. Sorry kid, but I don't. But from what I can tell from your DNA, she was Uzumaki from Uzumaki clan that lived in Uzushiogakure, in Yuzu no Kuni, that was neighbor with Hai no Kuni. But sadly village was destroyed because Uzumakis were very advanced in sealing, and people were afraid of them. Naruto frowned slightly after hearing what beautiful redhead said. Thank you for telling me at least a little bit of information about my mother. But how do you know all this? Well, after that incident with Madara, I started learning everything I could about humans, rather than just destroy everything with my giant body. It being jutsu, anatomy, history and etc. But the thing I enjoyed the most was experimenting on people, with their DNA, blood, body and everything I could. And let me tell you, they were some extreme level experiments, not as extreme as that Orochimaru fella was doing, but they were extreme nonetheless. So what do we do now? For starters, we will try not to get killed anymore. As for real thing, I will be training you and helping with many other things, she eyed him with glint in her eyes and evil grin plastered on her face. That moment Naruto felt like piece of meat in front of hungry predator. Why do I need to training anyway? Oh, I don't know, maybe because most of the villagers hate you and want nothing more than to see you dead, and the fact that you hold strongest Bijk in all elemental nations. She asked with oh so confused expression on her face and innocent eyes. Okay, I get it. Geez. So when do we get started? He asked with excitement in his voice. As soon as you wake up. And don't tell any of this to old monkey, he would think that I'm controlling you or something. I would also suggest you to leave this damned village, but seeing as you can't survive on your own yet, I wouldn't do that. Thanks for advice, and I'll be looking forward to our training, but it seems I need to go now, so he was cut off by Akane when he was about to say his goodbye. One more thing before you go, if you want to talk with me while not in your midscape, just think about me, and then think what you want to say. If you'll be talking out loud, people will think that you're nuts, or that mighty Kyuubi is breaking free. She also mumbles something about stupid cockroaches that call themselves humans under her breath, but he just ignored that. I'll keep that in mind. Bye Akane-chan, he said smiling as he disappeared from his midscape. See you later kid, she waved him goodbye as one thought was going through her head, I'm so getting him when he's older. It was after Naruto left his mindscape and woke up that he started to slowly open his blue eyes, and from what he understood, he was lying in bed. When he finally fully opened them, he saw a white ceiling that he was very familiar with. He already knew he would be in hospital again. He shifted a bit in his bed so he would be able to see if there was anybody in the room except him. When he looked around, he saw old man sitting in the corner of the room, waiting until he would wake up. He was none other than the third Hokage himself. Hey old man, how it's going, asked blonde kid, smiling at Hokage. Old Hokage of course smiled back. I am fine, thank you Naruto-kun. Are you feeling alright right now? You should rest more. Asked Sarutobi, concerned about Naruto's health. Is he tucking with me or does he really want to know if I'm feeling alright after being almost killed? Of course I am. How can I even be Hokage and take that hat from you if I will be just resting here, doing nothing at all? He said a bit loud to make his point, putting his best fake smile. Yeah right, me Hokage. And Kyuubi is a fluffy bunny. He knew perfectly well that there was no chance in hell that he would be Hokage in this village, not like he even wanted to be. He then heard a light snicker in back of his mind. Aka-chan, he asked inwardly, hoping that everything that he had seen and heard wasn't just a wild dream. Yes Naruto-kun, I can hear you perfectly well. Seems like that mind link that I tried to create worked just fine. Now Naruto, remember that I said that I would help you to become stronger. He nodded in his mind, we need to leave village for couple hours because we need to start your training as soon we can so we could survive. Because next time, they might not be weak civilians. And if I am right, somebody even will try to kidnap you to use you for their own needs. Plus I don't want my container to be weak or people will think that I'm weak and I don't want my reputation to be ruined. You know Naruto sweat dropped in his mind. Your reputation was ruined when you got sealed in me by human, I guess you're right, she said sadly and sighed. Okay, enough about that, you need to get out of the village. Now repeat after me. Hey old man, can I ask you a favor? Hokage instantly got interested at what child wanted to ask him. Well Naruto-kun, it depends on what you want me to do. I am Hokage, but I can only do so much. As you know, yesterday was my birthday and I was going to your office so I could ask for permission to leave village for couple hours, but then this mean people started to chase me and I don't know why, he said in childish manner. Old man frowned when memories of past day came to him, he just smiled sadly. Why did you want to leave the village Naruto-kun? He asked somewhat curiously. When I was on top of Hokage Monument the other day, I saw clearing with lake and waterfall not so far from the village, and all children going there with their parents, so I wanted to go there on my birthday, because there is nobody who would take me, he said, while faking sadness in his voice. Now he will no doubt agree. This trick works every time like magic. He started smirking inwardly and thanking Kami for blessing him with his acting skills. This of course got desired effect on old Hokage, as he looking at Naruto with sadness, sympathy and regret. Sarutobi as expected didn't see through his act. And of course he didn't know that the reason Naruto could trick him so easily was all thanks to him. Flashback 2 years ago. Naruto just turned 3. It was a week before he would be kicked out from orphanage. He was patiently waiting for his Jiji to come and pick his from orphanage. Every year on his birthday, Hokage would take Naruto with him and allow him to spend all day with him, doing things like eating ramen or watching him do his paperwork in his office. When Naruto saw Hokage coming from afar, his face lit up. "Hey Jiji," he shouted excitedly. Old man just watched in amusement as little blonde kid ran with lightning speed and hugged him with his little arms. "Hello Naruto-kun, how have you been? Come on old man, let's go eat ramen," he said as he started bouncing up and down, unable to hold his excitement. Hiruzen just smiled and complied. When they finished eating ramen, or more like Naruto eating dozen bowls of ramen and Hokage watching him with pure shock evident on his face, they went to Hokage office to spend their time alone, enjoying each other's company. "Hey Jiji, you're Hokage right? What is Hokage supposed to do?" asked Naruto while glancing at his grandfather figure. "There are many things that Hokage must do. But most important thing he is obligated to do is to protect people of Konoha. Of course there are things like politics, mission arrangement, and how could you forget all that paperwork," he said last part with such a venom in his voice that could send shivers down Madara's spine. "Wow, so you are protecting all people in this village? You must be really strong Jiji." "Actually yes Naruto, Kage is strongest ninja in whole village," said Hokage proudly. Only word that could describe Naruto's current state was disbelief. "Old man, you are strongest ninja in the village, no way." Amused Hokage just chuckled lightly at kid's attitude. "I may not seem like it, but I actually am. Remember Naruto, ninja's most powerful weapon is deception," said Hiruzen seriously. Naruto didn't show it, but he took this lesson to his heart and decided never to show his real strength and intelligence unless it was absolutely necessary. Flashback end. "Okay Naruto, you can go. But don't go too far or you will get lost and won't be able to find a way back," said Naruto's so-called Jiji. "Oh and old man, remember you told me once that there are people in masks that are watching everybody and protecting them? What were they called, Hamaru? Sambu?" As he continued his clueless 5-year-old act, Hokage started chuckling at what boy was saying. "They are Anbu Naruto. So what about the masked curious Hokage? I just wanted to ask you to tell them not to follow me when I go to that clearing. I just want to be there alone like all the other children with their parents," he said while looking with his little oh so innocent eyes at the Hokage. Hiruzen really wanted to say no and tell him that this is for his own good, but when he looked in those eyes of his, only thing he could do was sigh in defeat and agree to what little blonde kid asked. "Is he really that old that he can't even see through my act? And he is supposed to be the strongest ninja in the village PFFT. Oh well, here comes the finishing blow that I am sure will be make a significant blow to his pride for not being able to protect oh so innocent child from outside world," as he finished his trail of thoughts. He suddenly jumped from his bed and tackled old Hokage into hug. "Yeah. Thank you Jiji. Now when I tell other kids that I've been in such a good place all alone, they won't be making fun of me for not having parents," he said in his happy-go-lucky attitude, making Sarutobi to become very sad and angry at himself at the same time. "Okay, bye Jiji. I need to go pack some food or I will be starving when I get there," he said with his foxy grin, releasing Hokage from his loving hug and running out from the room to his old apartment that Hokage gave him year after he was kicked out from the orphanage. In Naruto's apartment. "So what do you want me to do now, Aka-chan? And why do we need to leave the village?" he asked, wondering what Kyuubi would want him to do that he needs to leave village for. "Not that I'm complaining or anything, it's always good to walk around without anyone glaring at you, just pack some new clothes and food, it must be enough for couple of hours. When you will exit the village, go in the direction of that clearing you mentioned. When you will be far enough, check if nobody followed you while you were walking, and I know old monkey said that he won't send anybody, but better safe than sorry. If nobody followed you, then try to find some kind of a cave or some place surrounded by the rocks where you can hide for a while. Do you understand what you must do?" His answer was a simple nod with his head. He also wanted to ask why she wanted him to do all this, but decided against it. "Okay, I am going to take a short nap. Wake me up when you get there, I'm sure you will like what I have planned for you," And with that said, she cut their mental link and went to sleep in her cage. At the gates of Konoha. When he was nearing the gates of Konoha, he saw two men in Chunin uniform sitting in cabin that was on right side of the road. When he came closer to the gate and was about to leave, he heard one of the men calling out for him. "Hey kid, where are you going? People are not allowed to leave the village without Hokage's permission. I got permission from Hokage earlier today to leave for couple hours and I'm going on a picnic to the clearing not so far from here, you know, one with lake and waterfall," he said with innocent ocean blue eyes. When Chunin couldn't detect a lie coming from this kid, he sighed. "Okay kid, I'm going to believe you on this one, but I will still ask Hokage about this, and if he hasn't given you permission to leave, then you will be in for hell lot of problems," man said with threatening voice. "Okay mister, thank you and have a good day." When he was far enough so nobody would see him, evil grin appeared on his face. "Oh, I am so going to prank his sorry ass for threatening me." After about 30 minutes, he found rather deep cave couple miles away from the shithole of the village that Konoha is. When he went deep into the cave, he decided that it was time to wake Akane up. "Hey Akane-chan, we're here, I found the cave as you wanted me to," she just grunted in response. After couple of minutes of silence, Naruto grew tired of this. So he did only logical thing he could think of that would wake her up. "Hijbi, wake the tuck up. Yondaime came to laugh at you, and he is here," he screamed in his mind. "Wahoo! Yondaime? Where? Tell me, where is he?" She started to shout at him, but stopped when she heard Naruto rolling on the floor and laughing his ass off. "Hey. Why the tuck did you do that?" she angrily demanded. Sorry, I tried to wake you up, but you just ignored me. So I decided to give you some good wake-up call, I really couldn't resist doing it. But it was worth it." She just HMPH'd in response. "Okay, so did you manage to find the cave?" "Yes, and at the moment we are deep inside it." "But good, now sit down in comfortable position and relax," she said as she pulled him into his mindscape. When he looked around, he saw a familiar cage with a cane behind the bars. "Now that you are here, I will explain everything to you. But first let me ask you this, what do you know about the ninja clans that are living in Konoha?" "Well, from what Jiji told me, I know that there are Aburami, Nara, Yamanaka, Akamichi, Inyazuka, Hika and Uchiha. Each clan has its own abilities that only people from that clan can use." Akane nodded in agreement. "Okay good, can you tell me what are those abilities?" "I don't know much about their abilities, just a little bit that I remember from what old geezer told me about them. Inyazuka clan has something to do with dogs, Aburami with bugs, Nara's abilities are somewhat related to using shadow, and they are very smart, Akamichi's are strong because of their size, Yamanaka's can do something with your mind. And Hika's and Uchiha's abilities are somewhat linked to their eyes. That's all I know," he finished with a heavy sigh, ashamed of his lack of knowledge. She instantly understood what was wrong with him. "Hey relax, it's okay, no need to be ashamed of yourself because of this. You're only 5 for love of God, I don't want detailed report on each member of Clan G's. And beside, from what I've seen from your memories, most of the time you hadn't even have time to study as you were trying not to die." Hearing this, Naruto immediately cheered up and genuine smile appeared on his face, which was rare for him. Akane-chan just smiled back, which caused Naruto to blush for some unknown reason. "An. Come on, he's only 5, even if he is mature for his age, he doesn't have any experience in relationship." "Okay, now listen and try to memorize everything that I'll say, okay?" The answer for her request was just slight nod. "Do you remember what I said about me learning everything about humans yesterday?" "Well, I wasn't talking only about Konoha, but that's not the point. What I'm trying to say is that I know what every ninja in every hidden village is capable of, and I especially learned many things about Konoha, seeing as I was summoned by Konoha ninja, and I made my first friend there." Naruto's eyes almost popped out of their sockets when he heard that she knew everything about ninjas in every hidden village. "Now let me explain about clans that are living in Konoha. In Yazuka, this clan is specializing mostly on their tracking and taijutsu skills. They have enhanced senses thanks to their nin dogs that are living with them. They always work with their partner or partners, which are their nin dogs. They have several clan jutsu that can be used with or without their nin dog's help. After years of living side by side, they develop skill that allows them to talk with their partner. So when you're fighting in Yazuka, it always will be 1 versus 2 or even more. Inyazukas are mostly harsh and hot-headed. They also have fang-like tattoos on each cheek and feral look. Aburami ninjas and Aburami clan mostly rely on their bugs that are living in their bodies. But they are obviously not usual type of bugs. Those are bugs that can eat your chakra, they are called Kikage bugs. They too got their own clan jutsus that can be performed using their bugs. Aburamis are calm and collected people that are taking actions relying on their logic. Also, one more major defining trait of the Aburami clan is that all of its members wear dark sunglasses that hide their eyes, as well as wear clothing that covers up most of their body. Nara clan has very unique ability to manipulate shadow. They can do many things with this ability, from paralyzing their opponent with their shadow to adding dozens of holes to your body. Also, it's true that most men from Nara clan considered geniuses, but they are laziest ninja in Konoha, with almost no motivation. But don't be fooled by this, when situation calls for it, they can get very serious about defeating their opponent. They also have some kind of a connection with deers and some knowledge in medicine, and considered best strategists in Konoha. The Yamanaka members of Yamanka clan are skilled with mind control jutsus, and that is what makes them best ninja for intelligence gathering and spying missions. Usually Yamanakas are working as interrogators in Konoha. Only thing that is common for their clan except jutsus are bleached blonde hair and bright blue eyes. Akamichi clan has very unusual ninjutsu that allows them to convert their calories to chakra, hence why everybody in Akamichi is so fat. On the side note, don't call Akamichi fat ever, they get very mad when somebody calls them fat. Where was I? Oh yeah, so as I was saying, they use their chakra to convert some parts of their body or even entire body to very large size. They use mostly raw strength to defeat their opponent. Okay, do you understand everything I told you so far? Naruto was carefully listening to what she was saying and was trying to memorize all of that. He never had anybody to teach him anything except for Hokage, so he wasn't going to pass this opportunity and slack off. So when she asked if he understood, he eagerly nodded in response, wanting her to continue. She smiled at his enthusiastic behavior. Now pay extra attention to the last two clans, they are considered two strongest clans in Konoha, as well as their Kekkei Genkai are considered strongest ninjutsu in all elemental nations. Do you at least know what Kekkei Genkai is? He just shook his head in no motion. Akane just sigh and I will have to teach him a lot of things if I want him to become strong. Sigh but I will worth it. Kekkei Genkai are special abilities that are passed down from your ancestors to you, that they somehow developed and that will pass down to your children from you. Now there are 3 types of Kekkei Genkai. 1 that affects your chakra. 2 that affects your body. 3 that affects your eyes. This kind of Kekkei Genkai are also called ninjutsu. With me so far? Yeah, this Kekkei Genkai thing sounds really cool, but doesn't it gives you unfair advantage over your opponent? She again just sighed. That is the point of Kekkei Genkai, to have advantage over somebody who doesn't have it. And besides, who said that life was fair? Do you think that what people are doing to you is fair? And of course let's not forget one of most important rules of ninja, you must use every tool available to complete the mission or win the battle. For a moment, Naruto was deep in his thoughts. She watched as several emotions appeared on his face. When he stopped thinking about what she said, he looking straight into her eyes in understanding of what she just said. I guess you're right. So you were gonna tell me about Hika's and Uchiha's ninjutsu? He said excitedly. She smirked at boy's desire to learn. Okay, now as I said before, pay extra attention to these 2 clans because it will be important to you. As to why you will understand in couple of minutes. Hika, this clan has their own ninjutsu, it's called Byakugan, it looks like pupilless pale eye and it has 3 main abilities. When the Byakugan is activated, the user's pupils become more distinct and the veins near their temples bulge. The first ability of the Byakugan gives the user a near 360 degrees field of vision, except for one blind spot at the back of the neck. The second ability is being able to see through solid objects and can use a degree of telescopic sight. The third and one of the greatest uses of the Byakugan is the ability to see chakra flow, as well as the chakra circulation system inside the body with great detail. They also have their own taijutsu style that can only be used by Byakugan user. This style is called JKKEN Gentle Fist. Hika clan is one of the noble clans of Konoha, which makes most of its members kin to arrogant. The clan is separated into 2 parts, the main house and the branch house, a system that is supus, protects the secrets of the Byakugan from outsiders. The members of the branch house are branded with a cage bird seal that gives main house members absolute control over them. And because of this, main house members started using branch members as their personal slaves. Most males from Hika have dark brown or black hair. Uchiha, they also have strong ninjutsu that is called Sharingan. Uchiha is also one of those noble clans in Konoha, but they not as bad Hikas, oh no, they are much more arrogant than them. Almost every Uchiha is born with strong Katon fire affinity, which allows them to use more powerful Katon jutsus. Unlike Hikas, Uchihas aren't born with Sharingan activated, it is only first unlocked under some stressful or emotional condition, after which the Sharingan may be used freely. When the Sharingan is first activated by a user, it has a different number of tomo around the central pupil, usually user will gain only 1 tomo in each eye, but it isn't unheard of for somebody to gain more than 1, but it is very rare. Sharingan has several different abilities. The first of the Sharingan's powers is being able to see the flow of chakra. The Sharingan can tell if a person is under a genjutsu because the person's chakra flow would be irregular. The Sharingan's second most prominent ability grants the user an incredible clarity of perception, allowing them to easily recognize genjutsu and different forms of chakra, though not to the same extent as the Byakugan. This also allows the user to pick up on subtle details, enabling them to read lip movements or mimic something like pencil movements. As the Sharingan evolves, gaining more Tomo seals, this ability extends to being able to track fast-moving objects before finally giving some amount of predictive capabilities to the user. However, even though the user may be able to see an attack or know it is coming, their body may not have time to react. The Sharingan's third and most well-known ability is instant photographic memory that grants the user the ability to memorize any technique that he or she witnesses, apart from other Kekkei Jinki techniques. The user can memorize ninjutsu, genjutsu, and taijutsu with near-perfect accuracy, allowing the user to use the techniques as their own, or even modify them to create their own new techniques. In order to reproduce a copied jutsu, however, one must have the necessary skill or ability to perform them. Sharingan cannot reproduce jutsu dependent on other factors, such as summons that the user has not signed a contract with. The Sharingan's final commonly used ability is capable of inducing a unique brand of hypnosis that involves suggesting actions and thoughts to the opponent through genjutsu cast by simple eye contact. More advanced Sharingan users can take the hypnosis ability even further to the point where a powerful summon or even eye may be controlled, one of them being that bastard Madara. Also, not many people know this, but Sharingan can be evolved to the Mangekyou Sharingan. When Mangekyou Sharingan is activated, its appearance will change from common 3 Tomo eye to some different shape, and the reason why I am not telling you what shape it will take exactly when evolved is because I don't know myself. Every Sharingan user will have his or her Sharingan evolve to its own unique shape. The Mangekyou Sharingan gives the user access to several powerful techniques, including the powerful Fire Jutsu Amaterasu and the almost unbreakable Genjutsu Tsukiyomi. The Mangekyou Sharingan erodes the eyesight of its users, eventually causing blindness, which can be prevented by obtaining another pair of Mangekyou Sharingan from a sibling. Which bastard Madara did, and his Mangekyou Sharingan evolved to Eternal Mangekyou Sharingan. And one more thing you should know about uchihas, so you would recognize one when you see him or her, is that almost everybody in Uchiha clan has dark hair and dark eyes, and also has white fan with red top emblem on their clothes. As the side note to everything I said, Uchihas also run the Konoha's military police force, where only Uchiha clan members are allowed to join, so you better be aware of them. After rather long explanation about Uchiha and Hyuga clans, Naruto just sat there shocked beyond belief after hearing all the incredible abilities that this Kekkei Genkei's allowed person to use. Wow was only thing say. Akane of course didn't miss this opportunity and started to laugh hysterically at his expression that his face showed. After she calmed and looked at annoyed Naruto, she continued. Do you know anything about Hashirama Senju? Naruto instantly took thinking pose and obviously started thinking. From what Jiji told me about history of Konoha, I only know that Hashirama Senju was the first Hokage and one of the founders of Konoha, he answered truthfully. That is true, but let me tell you about a little more about him, and Senju clan. Naruto immediately perked up and prepared to listen to more information that all-knowing demoness would tell him. As I told you yesterday, Hashirama had the ability to use Mokuton Jutsu that could tame demons like me, but it is not only thing that you can do with Mokuton. This entire forest where you are hiding at the moment was created by Hashirama's usage of Mokuton in the matter of minutes. Naruto was absorbing everything that he heard like sponge, and his respect for the man grew every passing second. Many people thought that Mokuton was his bloodline ability, sadly they all were wrong. Hell, even I at first thought it was his bloodline. It was true that he had Kekkei Genkai, but not what everybody thought it was. I only understood what it was exactly after I studied his DNA. I was really shocked when I found out that Senju clan had such a unique bloodline. So what was it, said Naruto impatiently, wanting to find out what was exactly the mysterious bloodline of Senju. I am getting to that, don't interrupt me. As I was saying, I found out what was Senju's bloodline actually granting them. Turns out that their bloodline allowed them to have excellent chakra control and control over their specific element or elements that couldn't be achieved with training, no matter how hard you tried, and surprisingly enough mix elements together with almost no problem at all. Hashirama was born with already 2 affinities, which were Doton earth and Suiton water, craved in his DNA, and his bloodline allowed him to mix them together, thus creating Mokuton Jutsu. His brother Tobirama on the other hand was born only with affinity for Suiton, but he gained such an extreme control over his element that he could create ocean out of thin air, using molecules in the atmosphere. So if Senju were this strong, where are all of them now? He asked, wondering why he never heard of such a powerful clan. Sadly most of them died in Third Great Shinobi War. Only living member of Senju clan is Tsunade Senju, one of the 3 legendary Sanins of Konoha, who left this village many years ago after her fiancé died on a mission. She is actually using her bloodline for a medical jutsu, and she is considered best mednin that there is. And she also created something like super strength using her perfect chakra control. Everything you told me so far was very interesting and useful, but why did you tell me all this? He asked confused, wondering if this was simply some kinda class to increase his knowledge of Konoha, or if there was some other reason why she told him all this. She grinned evilly and said, I told you all this because I wanted to offer you a deal. For some reason her grin sent chills through his spine. What kind of a deal it is, he asked suspiciously, glancing at mischievously grinning Bijk. Why I told all this is because while I was researching all of the bloodlines, I decided to create my own jutsu, and I was successful in doing so. But only I can wield it right now. So basically what I am offering you is my Kigen. She said, all the while grinning. I see, will you tell me what this jutsu will grant me? He asked, wondering what could genetic like her, with more than several hundreds years of experience, possibly create. As you know, I'm the Kitsune demon, and foxes are natural tricksters. I will only tell you that with some help from my Kigen, you will be able to sneak to the Hokage office, while the Hokage himself being there, steal his hat and certain orange book of his, and he will only notice it in about few hours, and with absolutely no success in finding out who it was. I will tell you more about its abilities if or when you will accept my offer. And if you will accept this offer of mine, there will be big surprise that I planned for you that I sure as hell you will love to have. She said with a pride in her voice for creating such a masterpiece. It is really impressive and all, but what you want me to give you in return? Her grin grew so much that you would think that her face will split in half any second. Oh, nothing at all, I just want you to accept me as your first mate and I will be the first to have kids with you. And one more thing, I want to be alpha female. She tried as hard as she could not to laugh at his expression when she told him his part of the deal. What do you mean, mate? He was now wondering if he guessed right about what she just told him. Well, let me say it so you would understand. You will have to marry me and have kids with me, and you will ask me before mating with someone else. She said a bit slowly so he wouldn't miss any part of what she just said. You want me to marry you? But why me? And what do you mean mating with someone else? I thought you said that you wanted to marry me. He asked after getting over the shock that his Akane-chan wanted him to marry her, or as she calls it, mate with her. Answer for your first question is power. We demons are naturally attached to power, and when I am done with you, you will be one of the strongest persons that ever lived. And I know how your father looked, and it's obvious that you will look exactly like him, so you will be quite handsome when you grow up. She said with seductive tone. But I'm afraid that at that point you won't be a human. As for your second question, you will very strong bloodline, and you will have to create your own clan, and seeing as you will be only person from that clan, you will have to take multiple mates to expand your clan. He just stood there dumbstruck, not knowing what to say. Here was most beautiful woman he have ever seen, and she was asking him to marry her and promising that he will be one of the strongest people to ever live. He of course didn't catch the fact that she said person and not human. While he was trying not to faint after what he just heard, Kyuubi was watching him with amusement, wondering when he would come to his senses. Okay, I accept your offer, he finally said. After long pause he spoke up. But I won't mate with you right now, I am 5 for tuck's sake. I am not asking you to marry me right now. I want you to do it in couple of years, and while we will be training, we can get to know each other better. I guess that's okay. When do I get this jutsu that you were talking about, and how will I? All you need to do now is just fall asleep, because I must channel my inki to your DNA, so I could change it slightly, and that will be very painful process, so you better be unconscious. And that was one more reason why I asked you to find a cave. If I would channel my chakra into you when you were in the village, people would freak out thinking that evil Kyuubi is taking over you. She told him truthfully, as she remembered that she promised to tell her future mate the reason why she asked him to leave the village. But what if my parents left me something? I heard old man saying something about blood seal once. My father was seal master, and as you said my mother was in Uzumaki, so I'm guessing that she had knowledge in Fuinjutsu as well. So it won't be surprising if they left something for me and sealed it away. Don't worry Naru-kun, I won't change that part of your DNA just yet. He just raised an eyebrow at the nickname she gave him. Also he was curious as what she meant by not changing his DNA just yet, but decided again asking her as he was getting rather tired from all of this new information. Okay Aka-chan, I believe you. Well then I will see you in couple hours. He waved her goodbye and was gone several seconds later. She sighed as she started thinking about amount of work she needed to do for it to work properly. Well, I guess there is no turning back now. Let's get to work, sooner I start sooner I'll finish it. And with that started very painful process for Naruto, even though he couldn't feel it, and very exhausting process for Akane. 13 hours later deep inside the cave. When Naruto woke up, he expected many things like pain, headache or something even worse. But he certainly wasn't expecting to wake up full of energy and better than ever before in his whole life. When he opened his eyes, he was very surprised to see everything in such a great detail, even though he could tell that it was dark as hell in this cave where he was sleeping. Suddenly he heard some noise, somewhere in the cave. It sounded like some kinda big ass rock just dropped from the ceiling to the floor of the cave. When he looked around to see what happened, but there was nothing that could make such a noise. But then he noticed little droplet of water that was sliding down from the ceiling to the tip of cone-shaped rock that was pointed toward the floor. When that little blob of water dropped to the floor, it made same noise as he heard before. What the hell? He decided not to think about it right now because he was getting thirsty. He looked around to find his pouch that he packed yesterday. When he found it, he stood up and went to grab it but noticed one more thing. Cave seems smaller than I remember. Oh well, guess I didn't pay enough attention when I came in yesterday, so he just started to search for water. After 5 minutes of searching, he realized one thing: he forgot to pack the water. Damn it, what am I supposed to do now? He sighed at his stupidity, but then he remembered that there was lake nearby, so he decided to head there. When he approached entrance of the cave, he was forced to squeeze his eyes because sun was shining brightly outside and his eyes weren't adjusted to the light just yet. I guess it's natural. When he came out from the cave, he decided to fully open his eyes to let them adjust to the light. But when he opened his eyes, damn it, shit, Tuck, what the hell is going on? He suddenly started to scream in agony. After about 5 minutes of screaming, cursing and pain, he calmed down. Now that he thought about it, he noticed that he could see, smell and hear everything much better than before. I wonder if this has something to do with Akane using his newly found abilities. He quickly went toward the lake. When came to the shore of the lake and was about to drink some water, he saw his reflection in the water and was shocked to see that he changed drastically. Now he was 5'1" height, had dark red hair as if they were dried in blood with a tint of bright orange, almost yellow. His eyes were dark red with a tint of blue, and his whisker marks were gone. While he was looking at himself and admiring his new features, some insect landed on his tail, so he just shoo at it. He just simply continued to look at his reflection. Several minutes later it hit him. Wait. Tail. Dottie looked back and saw a fluffy fox tail same color as his with yellow tip. He stood there about 2 minutes just looking at his tail in shock while his tail was swinging left and right as if it had life of its own. When he turned around to look again at his face, he noticed pair of fox ears on top of his head, same color as his tail. Also he noticed that his fangs were longer and he had claws, giving him somewhat feral look. What the tuck did you do to me? There was no answer, just silence. After couple minutes of silence he grew impatient and decided to try again. Aka-chan, darling, wake up, I need to ask you something important, he said softly in his mind. She just moaned something about 5 more minutes. He sweat dropped and decided to try yet again, but now in more forceful manner. Hijbi, wake the tuck up. He started to scream, but again she just grunted in response. He sighed and thought that he will need to wait until she would wake up on her own. But then devious idea came to his mind. Aka-chan, my sweetheart, if you will answer my questions, I will give you big wet kiss. He said in husky voice. Akane immediately perked up. Did you want to ask me something, Naru-kun? I can answer any of your questions, she said with seductive tone. He just face-palmed himself. Why did all of this happen? What do you mean? You don't like your ears and tail? She pouted a bit. No shit. Why mustn't I like them? Maybe because people will start screaming bloody murder moment they'll see me and will start chasing me around to kill me, thinking that they are killing oh so evil Kyuubi that came to destroy their village. He said with hissing voice. Okay, relax, I get it. Now go back to cave so I could pull you here and explain everything that happened to you. He nodded inwardly and went back to cave as his soon-to-be-maid asked him to. Naruto's mindscape. Let's start with your changes. When I started changing your DNA, it seems that your body wasn't quite ready for such an amount of my imki. So I don't really know how to say this, she said, unsure how to tell him the last part. Just say what happened, I won't be mad at you, I promise, he said with a kind smile. She let out heavy sigh. As I said before, your body wasn't ready for the changes, so I channeled much more of my imki so your body would age faster, so now you are physically 9 years old. What? That's it? What about this tail and ears? She started laughing nervously. You see, I kinda went overboard with my imki, thus turning you into the demon. She was expecting him to shout and scream, but he never did. Instead he just calmly asked. So how did this happen? He said with a little smile to show that he wasn't mad at her. She instantly relaxed seeing him smiling at her. You never actually used your chakra before, so when I filled your chakra channels with my imki, you changed into the demon. This would kill any other regular human because my imki is like poison for humans. But when I was sealed into you, your chakra coils weren't developed and thus over the years your body adapted to my imki. Your chakra would be part demonic anyway, seeing as my chakra was mixing with your own, but when I channeled rather large amount of my imki into you, it was all that was needed for you to turn into full-blooded demon. Well, I guess it's okay. I was gonna marry to the demoness, so why not become demon myself? And after, only difference between humans and demons is that demons are stronger and look different. I mean you are demoness, but you were kinder to me in only 3 days than all other humans in my entire life. You're absolutely right. This stupid humans can't understand simple fact that not every demon is evil or something. Hell, there are even some humans that are worse than most of the demons. Naruto just chuckled and silently agreed at what she just said. Now let me explain what you gained when you became demon. You still can use all of the jutsu that you want, also with your new chakra system, they will be 10 times stronger than they should be. You also gained shape-shifting ability, thanks to my imki. Also I took liberty to expand your brain's capabilities and boost your sensor skills to highest level possible at your current age. So now you will be smarter than that of Nara clan and your sensor skills will be on par with Nidamed Tsuchikage. Also your bones are now almost indestructible and you have body that people of your age or even older than you could only dream of. Your sense of smell and touch are better than any Inyazuka could dream of to have. Also you have very sensitive eyes and hearing ability. Oh, and one last thing, your claws and teeth should be stronger steel and sharper than knife, so don't think they are some fashion accessories. That sounds pretty badass. So what about this shape-shifting and sensor thingy? I was getting to it. I also need to explain to you more about Kigen that I gave you. Now listen carefully cause I won't say it twice. I originally created Kigen for spying and intelligence gathering purposes. With your left eye you can cast gain jutsu around yourself or any other object or area, masking your chakra and even scent. Not even Sharingan or Byakugan user can see through it and not even Inyazuka will smell you. With your right eye you can cast gain jutsu on anyone that will make eye contact with you. If you will use it properly then you will be able to find any information you need and infiltrate even most guarded facility in the world. And it is how I gathered all information about every hidden village. Also you can see through any gain jutsu that was casted at specific area or person and you are immune to any gain jutsu, and I mean any. Not even Tsukiyomi will have effect on you if Uu will activate you Kigen. She told him proudly. So what about that other abilities? It's called shape-shifting, it was also made for spying, intel gathering and infiltration. With this ability you can change your appearance in any way you want, hell you can even turn into the animal that is close to your size. Oh, and you can hide your ears and tail using this ability. So how do I do it? You need to concentrate chakra to your body or body part that you want to change and imagine how you want it to change. You would need to unlock your chakra, but luckily for you when I channeled my imki into your body, I opened all of your tenketsu points, so now you can freely use your chakra. But seeing as you never used it before, I can teach you how to do it. After your first time of using it, it will be as seen nature to you. But that said, she threw him out of his mind causing him to awake. So how can use chakra? You must feel it. Concentrate and feel your chakra flowing through your body, and when you will, don't try to control it, just guide it. Yes, I can feel it, it feels very familiar and at the same time new, and it also gives me this warm feeling. Now channel your chakra to your entire body and image your 5-year-old appearance. After about 5 minutes of trying, he finally succeeded in doing so. Yeah. I did it. But it took pretty long to do it though. So what about that sensor ability? He already exited about his new abilities. After shape-shifting couple more times, your body will adapt to changing every now and then, so it will only take couple of seconds. Now your sensor skills allow you to sense chakra and hide you own. Also you can tell who is the every person based on their chakra signature. Try to concentrate and feel everything around, every living creature has its own chakra system. After several minutes of intense concentration he was able to feel every living creature's chakra around him and even people in Konoha. Wow, it's like I can see everyone that is around me. It's amazing. She chuckled slightly at his reaction. Yes it is, you will be able to sense everyone's chakra that are 100 miles around, but it is only if you will concentrate. And your abilities will only increase with some training. Okay, now let's get back to Konoha or old monkey will think that something happened or you ran away. When you will get back to the village, you will start your training. Do you know where Forest of Death is located? Yeah, I've been hiding there couple of times before. She frowned when she heard that. And I wanted to ask you if I can visit my mindscape at will, rather than you pulling me inside each time. Actually you can. Wake me up when you will get to your apartment and I will teach you how to do it. 2 hours later Konoha gates. When he was about to walk through the gates, he was stopped by the same man that he saw yesterday. Halt. What is your business in Konoha? You are the kid from yesterday, sorry didn't recognize you there. Well, I don't have anything to do with you seeing as I know who you are, so go on, I won't hold you back from your way. See you, kid. Said man with spiky black hair and with bandage on his nose. While he was walking through streets of Konoha, he was met with hateful and disgusted glares yet again. Oh yeah. I almost forgot that everybody in this village hates me or want to kill me. Oh well, in couple of years I will be out of here, and if I ever return, I will slaughter every one of those stupid villagers. Kuku. Wait, what? Ugh, I think my demonic urges are kicking in, gotta control myself, gotta control. When he finished his trail of thoughts, he realized that he was already in front of his house. He slowly opened his door and stepped inside, locking it. Akane-chan, I am ready, come on, teach me how to enter my mindscape. Okay, good, you need to relax and channel a little bit of chakra into your seal that is supposed to be on your belly. After 15 minutes he finally appeared in front of the cage. Hey there, Aka-chan, he said in cheerful voice, and he seemed to be excited about something. Now I appreciate everything you did so far for me, so I have a surprise for you. Close your eyes and don't open until I tell you to. She was wondering what he was going to give her, but complied nonetheless. She stayed with closed eyes about 5 minutes until he spoke up. You can open your eyes now, Aka-chan. When she opened her eyes and looked around, she couldn't believe what she was seeing. Instead of some sewer with pipes and cage with seal on it, there was beautiful forest and two-story house behind her. For a moment she had that dreamy look on her face and just stood there. When she finally got over her shock, she suddenly ran up to Naruto, who was looking like his 9-year-old self in his mindscape, and hugged him tightly, burying his face into her well-developed chest. When she broke the hug, Naruto's face was red as tomato, she just giggled when she saw his face. Naruto, on the other hand, was grateful that he could again freely breathe and was even slightly disappointed. Wow, Naru-kun, how did you do it? It's so beautiful here. And where is the seal? For starters, it is my mind, and as for seal, just look at your right hand, he said, wondering if she would like his present. When she looked at her hand, she saw a beautiful silver ring with red 9-tailed fox on top of it, holding diamond with all its 9 tails, and kanji for seal inside the diamond. Ring was of course on her ring finger. She looked at him almost with teary eyes, and hugged him with such a force that he fell on his back, but what surprised him the most was not the hug itself, but what she did afterward. She kissed him. Several seconds he just lay on his back trying to understand what just happened, but quickly responded to the kiss on the instinct. After about 2 minutes of makeout session, that seemed like hours for both of them, they broke the kiss. Whoa was all that he could say. She just giggled when she saw a distant look and huge blush on his face. Okay, enough with sissy stuff, you need get stronger, and to get stronger you need to train. So get your ass out of here and go to the forest of death. Today I will teach you a jutsu that will help you to learn almost anything, at the very least several hundred of times faster than anybody else. She told him as she stood up and was looking down at him. When he heard her say that, he jumped up and disappeared from his mind in the matter of seconds. 30 minutes late, entrance of the training ground 44. He stood in front of the metal gate with a sign, training ground 44, stay out. Akane, we're here, what should I do now? First check if somebody is inside there. After a minute of silence he confirmed that there was nobody except him. Now go inside and try to find some clearing in there. He knew this place very well from what he remembered, but it still proved to be a bit difficult to find the clearing. After about 30 minutes of searching, he finally found one, and at the moment is standing in the middle of it. Aka-chan, I found the clearing as you wanted me to, so what are you going to teach me now? He asked, barely holding his excitement. First transform back to your now original appearance that you got after becoming the demon, also you can leave tail and ears alone for now, in case somebody will see you here. He simply complied with what beautiful redhead told him. I will now teach you one of my most favorite moves, it's called Kage Bunshin no Jutsu. This jutsu allows you to create solid clones that can fight and do everything that you yourself can do. But that's not the best part, when clone is dispelled, all his memories will transfer back to you. So that's what you meant when you said that I would be able to learn everything faster than anyone else. Yes, and imagine how many clones you would be able to create, considering that your chakra reserves are on par with a chibi. Now come here so I would be able to show you required hand seals. And while we're at it, I will also teach you every hand seal that are 12 in total, so you wouldn't have to come here every time. I will teach you some new jutsu. After 2 hours of non-stop training, he was finally able to create 200 clones. Cool. He said as he watched in awe at 200 copies of himself. Now dispel them all and try again, but this time put half of your chakra into it. He did as she said, and when he tried once again there was big poof of smoke. When it cleared, there stood 1500 perfect copies of Naruto. Now tell 200 clones to change their appearance and send them to the library to read everything that may be useful, and I mean everything, until it will be time for library to close. Send 500 clones to train with Keegan, another 500 to train in sensor abilities. For the last 300 clones tell half of them to go find some shurikens and kunes in town that people aren't using anymore and to practice aim and reflexes. And other half to practice in stealth. So while clones will be working at that, you will be training in speed, strength and stamina. And soon enough when you will learn how to increase your chakra control, you will start working on that too. Now did you memorize everything that I just said? He nodded dumbly good because this will be your training schedule for next 6 months. And you will train 8 hours per day with no exceptions, and when you will go to sleep to let your body to rest, we'll give you private lessons in your mindscape where time flows 5 times faster, meaning 5 hours in your mindscape equals 1 hour in reality. Now let's begin your training. For some reason Naruto had really bad feeling about this. 6 months later. In past 6 months Naruto was training and learning everything he could non-stop with astonishing rate. He already had full control over his Kigen, and he even managed to find very good use for his Kigen by using same method as a cane to gather information. He would create new set of clones every week and send them to spy on every clan in Konoha. He even sent one clone to Hokage office and one more to council room. He even placed couple of his clones in the root headquarter after he discovered it by spying on councilman whose name is Dansm. Also he have several dozen of clones running around the village and gathering any intel they can. He also mastered his sensor abilities. He now can detect anyone's chakra in 400 miles radius like it's his second nature, but if he will concentrate enough, he could sense chakra up to 1000 miles radius. But most difficult thing to master was hiding his chakra. Of course he could use his jutsu to put gain jutsu around himself to hide not only his chakra, but also smell and become totally invisible, but it required some chakra, so he wanted to hide his chakra without losing any in the process. During this time he managed to read every single book that was in the library, even useless romance stories. Which by the way helped him a great deal in his relationship with the cane. Unfortunately or fortunately, depends on how you think about it, he found Uchiha series, and surprisingly enough he became a fan. But not as big as Kakashi Hatake. Also when he read all the books that were available for civilians, he snuck up to the shinobi section and learned Henge, Kawamiri and Shunshin no Jutsu. He also wanted to learn some D-rank elemental jutsu, but a cane told him that he was not ready yet. Now his speed, strength, stealth and knowledge almost in everything except jutsu were on par with Junin's thanks to his body that he gained when he became demon. And unsurprisingly he got very interested in Kenjutsu, seeing as both of his parents were seal masters. But sadly the only thing that he could master was chakra control, but he still managed to complete tree and water walking exercise. And on the side note, he also gained 2 new friends whose names are Anko Mitarashi and Kuranaiki. Anko is 17-year-old Takebetsu Jimnin with violet hair tied into the wild ponytail, has light brown pupilless eyes, 5'7" in height and with rather nice body. She is commonly wearing a tan overcoat, complete with a fitted mesh bodysuit that stretches from her neck down to her thighs. She wears a dark orange miniskirt, as well as a forehead protector, a small pendant that looks like a snake fang on a thick cord rather than a chain to prevent it from being easily torn off in combat, a wristwatch, and shin guards. She also wears a dark blue belt around her waist that connects to her skirt that has an appendage-like sash. He met her while he was training. When she first met him, he introduced him as Naruto without the surname. He said that he was an orphan whose parents died in Kyuubi attack. When she asked why he was here, he said that he didn't want anybody to see him, so people would underestimate him. She accepted that answer, but said that it was dangerous for little Gakkus to run around the forest of death. Hell, she even tried to flirt with him, but he immediately saw through her act. She went wide-eyed when he asked her to drop the act and started denying everything. But he told her that she could tell him why she was acting like this when she was ready. After about 2 months of seeing each other several times every week, she opened up to him and told him how her sensei Orochimaru gave her cursed seal and abandoned her, leaving her to die. And the reason why she is acting like that is to prevent anybody getting close to her. Turns out that when she isn't putting up her crazy sadistic bitch act, she is very kind and caring person. From that moment on they became very close friends. After about 1 month of their close friendship, she introduced him to her only real friend, aside from him of course, Kuranaiki. Kuranai is 20 years old Jinin and gained jutsu specialist. Kuranai is a kunoichi with long and black shoulder-length untamed hair and very unique eyes that are red in color with an additional ring in them. She wears makeup consisting of red lipstick and purple eyeshadow. Kuranai used to wear the standard Konoha shinobi outfit with a Junin's jacket and a simple sleeveless red outfit underneath it. She is very nice and caring, but at the same time simple person, she is also very honest. They also become close friends after 1 week of knowing each other. He learned only later on that she had a nickname Ice Queen of Konoha because she was rejecting every offer on a date from any male. Even though he was only 9, he was already getting jealous looks when he was eating with Anko and Kuranai in Dango's shop. Clearing in TG-44. Naruto just finished his usual training and it was already noob. Hey Naru-kun, I think you are ready now. Naruto was confused because he didn't understand what she was talking about. Huh? Ready for what? I will tell you soon, but first let me tell you about Sage of Six Paths. Wait. Isn't that just a myth? That human, if can call him human, is far from being just a myth. Now listen carefully and try not to miss anything. Many hundred of years ago, there was 10-tailed beast who for some reason gone berserk and was determined to destroy the world. But there was one man who you now know as Rikiden Sennin. He managed to seal Jikbai into himself, thus becoming Jinchuriki of the Jikbai. When sealing was done, his DNA altered and he gained legendary Rinnegan and all the chakra that Jikbai had. Using its chakra he could create things from nothing and even give them life. When he was dying, he knew that if Jikbai will break free, it will destroy the world. So he divided its power into 9 parts, thus creating 9 Bijk. And to make sure that Jikbai won't ever regain his powers, he created the moon and sealed its body into the moon. He also had 2 sons, one of them gained Sharingan and created Uchiha clan, and his second gained his chakra and created Senju clan. Whoa, never thought that there would be a person who would be able to create the moon. So why did you tell me all of this? I told you this because you are one of the descendant of Rikiden Sennin and you have little part of his DNA. And if I will push enough chakra into that specific gene, you will activate Rinnegan. There of course may be some other person who activated Rinnegan without demonic chakra, but he would be unable to use it to its fullest, and if he would attempt to use some extremely strong jutsu using its power, he would just destroy his body, and it's very unlikely that he or she would survive, but there still is a chance. And if you are wondering how you have it in you, well, it's simple. Uzumakas were distant relatives of Senju clan. Whoa. Awesome. So what are we waiting for? Let's do it. If somebody would be nearby, they would have thought that poor boy gone mad. Not so fast. I have something much better planned for you. But first, do you remember what one of your clones found in Hokage office? Yeah, I do. There is a blood seal behind Yondaime's photo. Correct. And there may be something that will require your blood. And if I will change your DNA code once more, then it would change completely. And that's why we will first find if your old man left you anything. And now that you mastered ninjutsu that I gave you, it will be like walk in park to sneak in Hokage office. Hell, you can even release me and nobody would sense chakra spike. Of course, thanks to you chakra hiding abilities that I gave you. Okay, I get it, you are that great and all, geez. So when do you think I should do it? You know, it's already time that you would stop asking me every time what to do. I just wanted to know your opinion on this one. It's always good to know opinion of demoness who got hundreds of years of experience up her sleeve and as smart as yourself. She chuckled at what he said. You became quite a charmer, you know that. He just smirked slightly. I think tonight should do. Then I will go and rest for now to prepare for my infiltration mission. Later that night, Naruto just sneaked up into Hokage's office and just finished putting Gain Jutsu around it. He then proceeded to remove Yondaime's photo from the wall. When he did so, he saw a seal on the wall. He bit his thumb for it to start bleeding and then pressed his finger on the seal. For several seconds nothing happened, but then there was suddenly poof of smoke, and when it cleared, there was a square-like hole on the wall. Inside was only wooden rectangular box. He grabbed the box and checked if there was anything else. When he could find anything besides the box, he cast Gain Jutsu onto the wall, so nobody would detect that seal was broken, and then put photo in same exact spot where it was before. And with that he disappeared from the office, leaving no trace of him being there. Naruto's apartment. When he arrived to his apartment, he immediately went to his bedroom to open the box that his father left him. When he sat down on his bed and looked closer what this box looked like, he saw one more blood seal placed on top of it. He did necessary action to break the seal. When he opened the box, he saw 2 scrolls, letter, book, key and one strange-looking kunai. He decided to read the letter first. He opened it and started reading. Hey there son, if you are reading this then I'm obviously dead. And if your mother Tsurutobi didn't tell you, my name is Minato Namikaze and I am the 4th Hokage, yep, I'm just that awesome. Now if you wondering why nobody told you about me being your father, it's because I have many enemies in all elemental nations, especially in Iowa. So if Tsurutobi gave you this, it means that you are strong enough to be able to defend yourself. Also I left you much more than what is in this box. Believe it or not, I was rather rich man. I left you my family mansion with all the jutsus that I collected, money and everything that you can find in it, so you and your mother could live there. If you don't know where mansion is located, there is a map at the end of the letter. In this box you will find my 2 most prized jutsus, them being Rasengan and Hirishin no Jutsu. And I also left you book that I myself wrote about seals. If you will learn everything that is written in that book and all books that are in mansion's library, you can proudly call yourself a seal master. Well, I guess this is it. Now I need to stop Kyuubi from destroying our village, and sorry for sealing it inside you, but you must understand that I don't have another choice, I am the Hokage after all. Also I asked Sarutobi to tell the villagers to see you as a hero for holding the Bijk. And if they don't, you and your mother can always move to Kumo, where my family originally came from. There is also a rather large family mansion. Goodbye my son, and try to live happy life. And remember that I love you my son. Minato Namikaze, 4th Hokage and your father. When Naruto finished reading the letter, he was very sad, happy, grateful and confused. Sad because he could live happy life with his parents, but instead he was orphan who was treated worse than garbage. Happy because now he knew that his father loved him, even though he knew him only couple hours. Grateful because his father left so much for him to use and achieve his goals. And confused because in the latter, his father mentioned his mother who is supposed to be alive, if judging by the latter. Maybe she died afterward or maybe she left him, he didn't know, but he decided to find out. I'm really sorry Naru-kun, it's because of me that all of this is happening to you. She said sadly. It's not your fault Aka-chan, if you want to blame somebody, blame Madara. And after all if it wasn't for you, I wouldn't be this strong and I wouldn't have met you. That moment she felt like crying from happiness. Nobody ever before told her such a kind words. Of course Hashirama was her friend, but nothing more than that. And every other human in the world thought about her as mindless demon made for destruction. Thank you very Naruto-kun, you don't know how much that means to me. She said as she felt tears sliding down her face. Akane, are you okay? He asked when he heard her sobbing. Yes I am fine, thank you. Now let's go and see what my soon-to-be father-in-law left you. She said jokingly, trying to cheer Naruto and herself up. Naruto chuckled at what she said and agreed with her. After 2 hours of searching he finally found the damn mansion. Apparently his dad wasn't skilled in drawing as he was in shinobi art. Turns out that mansion was couple of miles behind Hokage Monument near the woods. When he came closer to the mansion, he saw a 9 feet height wall around the mansion, and in the middle it was big metallic dual door that was painted in dark brown color, and in the middle of it was Uzumaki swirl, which Naruto guessed must be the key. When he looked at it with his ninjutsu, he indeed saw that there was a blood seal. So he bit his thumb and putted it against the seal. The door opened with a loud cling. When he looked inside, he saw a huge 2-story mansion that was as large as Uchiha's, with large backyard that could be easily used as training ground, and if training dummies are any sign of it then it means that his father was using it for same exact purpose. Mansion itself was built in traditional Japanese style and was grey in color, with black roof and many windows. Front door was rather big, also dual as the main gate, and was white in color. He quickly ran to the front door and put the key that he had into the keyhole and opened the door. He went inside and when he looked around, he was amazed at how beautiful it was inside. On the first floor, he found big kitchen, even bigger living room and huge library. In the middle of the hall there were wide stairs that led to second floor, where were only about 11 guest rooms with everything included in them, each one of them was better than his entire apartment. There also was one master bedroom with a little office inside. He also found out later on that there was even underground floor where weapons and all kind of equipment were held. There was even personal onsen at the backyard and it was pretty big. Wow, I never could dream of living in such a place like this. And all thanks to you dad. He said to no one in particular with a huge smile on his face. Yeah everything is great and all, but if you will move in here, you must make sure that nobody will know that you live here or we'll be in one hell of the problems. Now settle down and listen to me so I could tell you what I started telling you this evening. I am listening. You were something about changing my DNA completely to activate Rinnegan. Yes, but that's not all. I can give you 3 more bloodlines beside Rinnegan and Keegan. But I will need blood example to do it. Naruto's eyes were now wide as plates. Whoa. You really can do that? And what Kakashi case exactly are we talking about? And whose blood you need to do it? I was thinking about Byakugan, Sharingan, and Senju bloodlines. And as to whose blood I want, I would say Hiashi Haika head of the Haika clan, Madara Uchiha and Hashirama Senju. If I am right, their medical files and blood samples must be held in the hospital, in the room covered in many protection seals. But can't you activate Rinnegan right now, so it would be easier for me to get the blood samples? No, because if I will activate it now and add some other bloodline later on, they will just cancel each other. But if I will activate all at once, they will fuse and create completely new one, with all of bloodline's abilities combined. By this point Naruto was wondering how strong he will be when he will get this new bloodline. But his thoughts were interrupted by a cane. And don't even think for a second that you will gain all the power in the world just because you have some super bloodline. Oh no mister, far from it, you will be training even harder and more than before to master all of your new abilities and I will make sure that you won't slack off. At this point Naruto was already even more pale than Orochimaru. But luckily for you, both of your parents were seal masters, and you have more than enough resorts to become even better seal master than father. So for next 4 months, we will continue with your physical training, and most of your clones will be studying seals, and maybe 100 or so clones will be working with all that weapons that you now have to train you aim and dodging reflexes. Naruto sighed heavily when he thought about all the work he will need to do, but he complied nonetheless. 4 months later. Naruto was currently relaxing in his personal onsen. He was just thinking about everything he did for the past 4 months. In this 4 months that he lived in Namikaze Estate, he was training 10 hours per day, every day without any exceptions. And with his clones and training in his mindscape, he could proudly call himself Seal Master. Also he was becoming better friend with both Anko and Kurenai. And when he had free time, he was usually talking to Akane. And now that he thought about it, he was really glad that she was going to be his mate soon. Also seeing as he mastered his shape-shifting ability, he decided to make his original look that he would take when not pretending to be happy-go-lucky Naruto Uzumaki. When he was in his original form he had almost same haircut as Yondaime, only exception was that he had his hair tied into the ponytail and his hair were blood red color that he gained when he became the demon. He stood at 6 feet height with ripped body that most man could only dream of. All in all, he looked like 16-year-old, red-head Yondaime with red eyes. But he was still scared that they would hate him for being a demon, but he would need to tell them sooner or later. He just decided not to about it for now. Naru-kun, I think with your current knowledge of seals, you are ready to infiltrate the hospital and get blood samples. So are you ready to do it? She asked him daringly. He grinned and answered with so much determination in his voice that you would think that he is about to conquer the world. Of course I am, do you think tonight will do? Yeah, tonight sounds good. And with that he started preparing for one more of his infiltration missions. 2 days later early morning. Naruto just returned home from rather long night of sneaking in the hospital, avoiding traps, breaking seals and stealing blood sample, but it was totally worth it. He grinned at the thought of getting such a powerful bloodlines, but his favorite part was that he would have excellent chakra control. Oh how many nights he dreamed of having such an ability. Yo Aka-chan, I got everything here with me he said inwardly while panting a bit from all that running he did. But you also got Uchiha Fugaku's and Tsunade Senju's blood. Oh and couple of empty jars. He nodded. Good, now fill empty jar with your blood. He went to the kitchen, picked up the knife and cut his palm. He held his hand on top of the jar to let blood pour into it. But it was a bit annoying, seeing as cut on his arm was healing in couple of seconds after he cut it, so he needed to cut his pal around 10 times or so, until jar was full. Okay, it is full now, so what do I do now? Do you remember that seals that were on that blood samples that you stole to freeze the blood inside of the jar? Yeah I do, you showed me them once. He said as he remembered time when she was helping him with the seals and taught him how to make this particular seal. She knew how to make it because she used it a lot herself. Then put this seal on jar with your blood and seal it away somewhere. In case there are some more blood seals that are set to recognize your blood, you will use this one. He did as she said and after 5 minutes he was done. Now you have 2 choices. 1 you will drink a bit of blood samples, or 2 you will mix it with your own blood. Oh by the way, put blood of Fugaku and Tsunade somewhere else, because you won't need them now, or you may not need them at all. I think it's better if I will mix it with my own, I mean drinking blood it's gross. He grimaced at the thought of drinking someone's blood. As you wish, but remember you need only little droplet of blood, no need to empty whole jar. He then prepared all blood samples and cut his left palm and then dropped 1 droplet of blood from each jar into his injury. After 10 minutes of silence, Akane finally spoke. Okay, I got everything I need. You can rest now, I will do all the job from now. Oh and you will probably be out for 2 to 3 days and I will be exhausted when you will wake up, so don't try to contact me. She said with a heavy sigh. But then Naruto suddenly appeared in her room, grabbed her by the waist and pulled her into the heated kiss. After about 10 minutes of passionate makeout session, they broke the kiss and looking at each other for about 5 minutes, slightly touching each other lips. That was my way saying see you later he said with a sly grin. And when you will recover, I will give rather nice welcome. He gave her peck on the lips and disappeared. Yep, I totally made the right decision when I decided to get him as my mate. And with that thought on her mind, she started very exhausting for her and painful for him process. 5 days later. Naruto just woke up in his king-size bed, feeling very sore. Then he remembered what happened before he fell asleep and quickly jumped from the bed and went to the bathroom. When he completed his morning ritual, he looked in the mirror and tried channeling chakra into his eyes. When he did so, 2 things happened that left him stunned. 1 if he wasn't as skilled in sensor type abilities as he is, he wouldn't even feel any loss of chakra. 2. His eyes now had 3 circles around the pupil and with 9 tomos, 3 on each circle. His right eye was completely white with only pupil circles and tomos being black, but his left eye was complete opposite, meaning black eye with everything else white. And with slightly noticeable red, almost transparent veins going from the corner of his eyes to his temples. He just stared at his new gained bloodline in awe and decided to thank Akane properly for job well done. After he got over his little shock, he decided to leave his ninjutsu activated for the day to get used to the feeling of his Kekkei Genkai. Next day. Naruto just entered into his mindscape to check on Akane. When he stepped inside the house which looked like exact copy of Namikaze estate, except it had flat roof with a pool on it, he went straight to her room. When he opened the door, he was met with cutest sight he saw in his life. There was Akane, apparently sleeping, well curled up into the ball, with all her 9 tails wrapped around her and her foxy ears twitching every now and she was hiding her tails and ears with genjutsu, much like Naruto is. He silently walked up to her bed, sat beside her and started caressing her silky blood-red hair. After about 20 minutes doing so, he grew bored with that, so he decided to relax until she would wake up. He laid himself beside her and wrapped his left arm around her waist. When she sensed new source of heat, she immediately hugged him and put her head on his strong chest, lightly snoring. He just silently chuckled when she saw her doing that. He didn't even notice when he fell asleep about 15 minutes later. Several hours later. When she woke up from rather good sleep that she hadn't had in a while now. She was confused as to why her soon-to-be mate was sleeping with her, but she wasn't complaining. After 5 minutes of just laying there and enjoying his company, she decided it was time to wake him up. She slightly sat up and kissed him, thus successfully waking him up. That's a wake-up call that I could get used to. He said with a sly grin. I will think about it if you will be good boy. She said with a grin of her own. And kissing him on the cheek teasingly. After several more minutes of flirting, they decided to discuss more important things. Akane-chan, as much as I love flirting with you, I want to know what I am able to do now with my new bloodline. Well, let's see, where do I start? Okay, first thing that you need to know is that you have now 5 different bloodlines that successfully fused within you, hence creating totally new one. Now let me explain what you can do with it. Also, I didn't think of the name for it just yet. I was actually expecting some of abilities to cancel each other while fusing, but to my great surprise it didn't, and I was even able to improve some of abilities that you would gain. These are things that I improved. You don't have blind spot that every Haikyuu has, and your veins wouldn't bulge when you will activate Ukekken Genkai, they will just become slightly visible. Also, to obtain abilities of Mangekyou Sharingan, you won't need to be in some very extreme emotional state, rather you will just gain them with training. And here are the abilities that you can use or will be able to use with some training from your part. You will have all abilities of the Byakugan and Sharingan. I won't explain what they are because you already know it. You also gained excellent chakra control of the Senju clan. But what you don't know are abilities of the Rinnegan. You will able to use all 5 elements and even gravity. I also made sure that all of the 5 elements would be carved into your DNA as if you were born with them. And combining it with abilities that came from Senju, you will be able to mix some of them together, hence creating sub-element. I will explain more about Rinnegan when we will start training. And that's exactly what you will be doing in next couple of years. Naruto was really amazed to say the least. So what I will be learning in my trainings. Oh, but here's the best part. You do realize that if you have some clan's bloodline, you will be able to use said clan's jutsu, right? Naruto eyes widened in realization. I see you understand where I am getting it, right? He nodded with his head. But if we steal jutsus from some clan, surely they will notice that. You don't need to steal them, copying them will be more than enough. Also, along with clan jutsus, it will be very useful if you will be able to copy jutsu from the Forbidden Scroll of Sealing that is located in the Hokage residence. But how will I be able to pull that off? He asked, slightly worried. I will say only this, Kage Bunshin. As to how well it's who is the prank king, so I am sure you will able to create a decent plan. She said with her foxy smile. Oh, and also don't forget to take with you Tsunade's, Hiyashi's and Fugaku's blood. There may be some scrolls that will have blood seal on them. Suddenly Naruto realized why she asked him to take their blood samples. He started grinning deviously as he already was getting some ideas for his newest prank. 1 month later. It was already midnight in Konoha and everyone was ready to go to sleep. But suddenly outside the village thousands of explosions were heard in all directions. Everybody rushed to see what was going on when suddenly second wave of explosions ringed out, now closer to the village. And that moment everybody inside the village had one thought going on through their minds, we are under attack. Every ninja in the village ran to defend their home. For the next 2 hours explosions continued from all directions. When it stopped, everybody was still on guard for about 20 minutes. But then they went to see who was attacking them, if somebody was at all. What they found shocked everybody to no end. There were paper bombs just everywhere. They couldn't understand why somebody did that or who did that. But what they didn't know was that while they were defending village from the enemy and were trying to find attackers, every single jutsu from Hyuga, Uchiha and Senju clan, along with jutsus from Forbidden Scroll, were copied by one and only Namikaze Uzumaki Naruto. When everyone settled down, they could heard hysterical laugh coming from the woods, and again it was our favorite redhead making these disturbing noises. October 10th, Namikaze Estate. Now we see Naruto sitting in his living room, on the couch, facing two beautiful women. They are of course none other than Anko Mitarashi and Kurenai Iki. Okay girls, as I promised I will tell you what happened to me, and I am telling you this because I trust you with my life, and well I really like you both. They blushed deeply when they heard him saying that he lied them. Now first let me ask you this, what do you know about Naruto Uzumaki? He surprised them with his question. I saw him couple of times, running around the village acting like an idiot and pranking some people. I actually like his pranks. You see Anko-chan, Kuren-chan, I am none other than Uzumaki Naruto himself. He said, shocking both women and leaving them wide-eyed and gawking. What do you mean you are him? You can't be him, you don't look anything like him, and you at least 10 years older than him. Shouted Anko, while Kurenai just sat there shocked and unable to produce any noise. You both know that Naruto is container of the Kyuubi, right? They both nodded slowly. He then proceeded to take off his shirt. Now he sat there shirtless in front of two blushing women. I guess you like what you see? He asked, as both Kunoichi's blush deepened. Why did you do that, said Kurenai after she got over her shock to be stuck by another when she saw seal appearing on his belly. This can't be, Anko managed to mutter under her breath. I know it's hard to believe, but please do. Now I want both of you to take one of my hands and relax. You will understand what I want in a moment. They were wondering what he could possibly wanted to do, but complied. Several minutes passed, but nothing happened. But then they heard new female voice. I was wondering, when would you bring this two lovely ladies here, for me to meet them? Yeah, I am sure that you will like them, Aka-chan. He said with happy smile. Not to be rude or anything, but who is she and what happened? Asked confused Kurenai while looking at Naruto. Let's start with this, I pulled you both into my mindscape. And as for her, well you probably already guessed who is she, but I will still introduce her to you. Her name is Akane, she is the same Kyuubi that attacked the village 6 years ago, and she is also my first mate. Isn't she supposed to be kin to evil? And will you explain how all of this happened to you? Because right now I am confused as tuck. Said Kurenai, surprising everyone by her outburst. Allow me to explain everything from the beginning. Said Aka-chan as she proceeded to tell them about everything that happened to her and Naruto. Wow, both women said in union. Wait a second, you said that she is your first mate. Does that means that you have more? Asked Anko. At this point, Akane just stepped closer to both Anko and Kurenai and whispered something to them. While this was happening, Naruto was getting nervous. So girls, now that you know who I am, I'll understand if would stop being my friend or even if you will hate MHHMM. He was cut off by Anko, who pulled him into wet and passionate kiss. He went wide eyes when he realized what was happening, but quickly responded to the kiss. When they parted, he just stood there for a second unable to do anything. What? I don't understand MHMP. He was again cut off by the kiss that was filled with same passion and love, but now it was Kurenai who did this. He gladly kissed her back. After 5 minutes of them making out, they finally separated. You see, Akane here told us that you will need multiple mates, so said Anko. So we thought that we could give a try na. Finished Kurenai. When he heard what they said, Naruto was feeling like happiest man alive. Of course we must give it a try, and I'm more than sure that everything will work out just fine. They spend all day talking about their newly developed relationship and what they will do about it. He also told them who his parents were. When it was getting dark, both of his soon-to-be mates kissed him goodbye and went to their homes. He knew that it wouldn't be easy for them, and he also knew that he couldn't stay in Konoha for very long, but he was ready to meet any hardships that life would throw at him head-on. And with that thought in mind, he went to sleep. The end. So how was this part? I hope you like it. And if you like it, share this part with your friends and like the video too. And don't forget to subscribe our channel for daily awesome fanfiction. Okay, it's time for me to go. Bye bye.